You're calling it NTR disease? What is NTR disease?
I'm glad you don't know what NTR is, because it shows that you aren't well versed in the degenerate depths of the internet.
Really? Is it related to public radio, NPR disease? Like, listen to
you know what? There is an overlap of people that listen to NPR and people that are into NTR. So
okay, all right.
But
I'm interested to hear what this is.
Sort of like a part two to my spiel on how like lust is like a demonic force. You know, I saw a post on Twitter a few days ago. So okay, just for me to set the scene. NTR is basically the Japanese word for cuckolding, where they have like cuckolding art. They make like mangas where the main character gets cuckolded by his girlfriend, and some guy that comes in swoops the girl and they smang like right in front of the guy, and he's like, "Why would you do this to me?" And then she's like enjoying herself with the other guy. This is like one of the biggest genres of erotic manga in Japan.
Oh,
and,
it's a manga. Okay.
Like hentai, all that stuff. But there was this famous panel, this well-known NTR panel from picture, and then someone. so it's a picture of this guy and girl. They fall in love, they get married, and then the baby turns out to be black, and that's the original panel, right? So that introduces the guy being cuckolded by someone from a different race. So this Twitter post I saw, it's this artist who recolored the people so that the guy never gets cuckolded in the first place. And apparently this was controversial enough to like get the NTR people in upheaval.
It was controversial because he didn't get cuckolded.
Yeah, they're like, you're like rewriting art, you're like changing art and all that stuff. And it's like, you're defending, like, what the fuck am I watching? You're defending that this guy should be cuckolded because he gets you hard. Like, what?
Yeah, he's disfiguring their culture. So
it also like brings into question, like, how are we letting these people take the high road pedestal? Like, you don't get to take the high road pedestal on this. You don't get to say like, oh, you're a bad person because you redrew this NTR panel where a guy didn't get cuckolded. Like, you don't get to do that. You know.
Hey, it's.
You don't get to paint me as the bad guy for liking that. Like, come on.
Oh, it's kind of an alternative version of Disney Star Wars too. It's you're gatekeeping your cuckold fetish. So how dare you reverse engineer my fetish into a healthy relationship? So if anything, yeah, I mean that almost reminds me of when it would be the Black Panther Wakanda and someone just colored him as white, and there was a huge uproar about it. So it's like you're changing the root and the foundation of what they enjoy about their quote unquote hobby, and I think
core beliefs.
Their core, their Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Their baseline one is that they need to see that, and I don't know, maybe they're a little bit more vociferous about it over there because.
It wasn't even Japanese people. It was these fucking like white. Like,
wasn't?
Like, you're changing the soul of this art.
I thought you were gonna say, yeah, because they're having a birthing crisis over there in Japan, and maybe there's been some sort of subliminal government intervention that's saying, okay, we must force our men, because they're not having sex with our women, to defend cuckolding so our women can get impregnated by foreign invaders? I don't know. What if they... is Japan just an indirect sex tourism country now? I feel like that's reserved for other places. Maybe that's Brazil, but... Where do people? Nah, maybe more of the Colombian or you know
something along those lines. I was thinking, if you think not from country but generationally, dude, boomers are like the biggest cuckolds of all time. Did you realize that? Dude, because I can't count the amount of times I've read online like these boomers attended a swinging party where this guy just like watches his boomer wife like have sex with another man, and it's like, you're okay with that?
So imagine a chain restaurant, if you will, like Chili's, okay? Chili's, Applebee's, Fridays. There's kind of an equivalent to that here. Well, all of those are in America too, but there's one that not a lot of people know about. It's called Houlihan's. And Houlihan's is my goat, okay? Houlihan's has these stuffed mushroom peppers that I'm a huge fan of. By the way, this is going somewhere. There was one night I was at Houlihan's, and I was about to meet up with some friends there before we went and saw a movie that was nearby, and some guy in a wristband started talking to me, okay? He was talking to me just about anything really, you know, what'd you get, you know, where are you from? And I was like, he has on this strange orange wristband. I don't know what that's for.
Oh no.
So he doesn't make a direct overture towards me, but he starts to get a little pushy, maybe saying things about me that I wouldn't prefer from an old man, and I just assumed he was an emphatic gay guy, and that wouldn't be the first time I've been hit on by one of those. But I found out after he walked away, where I started to become a little dismissive and just say, okay. And the bartender said, wait, you're not here for the event later? And I said, what event is happening at a Houlihan's on a Thursday night? She goes, oh, they block out that back room and they have a swingers party in the back.
Damn,
and I think to myself, I'm like, who are these grody suburban boomers meeting up in a Houlihan's with a 90s style carpet flooring on a Thursday, starving to pawn their wives off to people? It's disgusting. You don't see young people having swingers parties.
Dude,
you don't.
That guy was rock hard at the idea of you fucking his wife, dude. He would have loved nothing more than to have you fuck his wife.
He wants some effeminate Italian manlet to give his wife the best 30 seconds she's ever seen. That's what got him going. That is funny, actually. That's a funny concept. Imagine you're an old man and you want some young stud to bang your wife, and the guy that you quote unquote hire is just like terrible at sex. And she's like, oh, like this, can I just have sex with you now, honey? He's like, no, I'm really loving this. He has to pretend because that's part of the bit. So you think to myself, though, you got me going on it for a second here. You don't see, first off, people younger than us is essentially a sexless generation. They've been sterilized by media to not enjoy sex, and they've all had some sort of influx of thinking that they may be gender binary at their core, and they have to go through some self-discovery when they're younger, which essentially makes you sexless as well.
Seems like boomers are the inverse, right?
Yeah, well, it's because they're what's that word, like Aphrodite, or where you're partying all the time. What's the word for that? Hedonists. They're hedonists, really. Yeah, it's hedonism. I didn't look that up. It eventually popped in it. Thank God.
But the word hermaphrodite just popped in my brain.
Of course. Well, somewhat relevant to the conversation. So I don't know how we're getting on this, but people much, much older than us, let's just say in their 70s and 80s, they're a little bit more traditional. People who are Gen X probably just have normal relationships. And I'm talking about people who are maybe teenagers or in their 20s when Nirvana was putting music out there. They're not as much into that. But why is it that boomers are the ones that want to do? It's because are they 60s, 70s love children, and they believe in some weird form of free love even within a monogamous marriage?
Maybe because they sent. Dude, imagine some boomer. He went to fucking Woodstock '69 and then just had to become a corporate cuck for like 30 years, and then the inner Woodstock wants to come out and share some free love, dude.
I guess so. Share his wife with some free love. Now, this is a bit of a painful memory to bring back. We're moving into therapist hour here, but I remember when I was young, I was about 16 or 17. And I was talking to this one girl I really liked. Let's just call her Anne. And she's actually kind of in the one that got away territory for me. And I remember she was dating a guy at the time. I was dating someone else at the time. And I really just wanted to keep in touch with her because, I was smitten. And she was telling me that the guy she was dating at the time, this was before cuckold was in the common lexicon, the colloquial word set of the average world traveler here, or English speaker. She said, yeah, this guy, Don, let's just say that's her boyfriend's name. He really wants me, and my brain couldn't understand the concept at the time. He really wants me to have sex with someone else in front of him. And me as a 16, 17-year-old was like, why? Why does he want to do that? And looking back, I don't know, maybe she was she trying to tell me? Yeah, exactly. But I didn't get it. I said, what does that mean? Is it a psychic thing? Like he has sex with you while watching from elsewhere? Like Charles Xavier? My mind could not comprehend the thought of you sitting in a room and watching someone else have sex with your girlfriend. And and then looking back, I'm thinking back, who was this dude who was 17 years old going like, before it was even like within our normal, discourse in everyday life. They're like, yeah,
you're right.
It must have been inherent, like within his genetics or something, or with his subconscious.
Dude, this guy is indulging in like boomer fetishes at 17. Like,
yeah, what was that? I don't get where that's coming from, but back then I would have said, "Oh, your boyfriend's a cuck," but that wasn't a word. That wasn't a word at the time, so I don't know where that was coming from. So now I look back, I'm like, that guy's a fucking weirdo. So
another point is like, people really need to stop like just giving respect out, just freely to people just because they're old. You cross some old guy in the street and you're like, "Oh, hello, sir. Let me help you with your groceries." No, that guy wants you to fuck his wife and jerk off in the chair while he watches you. Like, you don't need to respect that,
Just assume all old people are fetishists from now on. I was walking on the boardwalk going to the beach a few weeks ago, and my beach chair was sticking out from behind me while I was walking. There's a wide open space on this boardwalk. Of course, some old boomer woman goes to pass by me. She's walking in the opposite direction. There's a whole other side of the boardwalk for her to just has enough room to walk around. She saw me walking towards her. She saw my chair sticking out. She decides to not deviate from her course, and she walks right into the corner of the armrest of my chair that's sticking out, and it stabs her in the stomach. And she's like, she makes some suction noise and holds her stomach, and I just turned around and I said, "Watch where you're walking." She expected me to stop and say, "Oh, are you all right?" You're a dumb fucking bitch. You're walking like a retard on the boardwalk. I hope that fucking punctured your lung and killed you later. You're walking like an idiot. You don't own the ground you walk. I swear that movie Logan's Run becomes more and more true every day when you reach a certain age. Definitely not in your 30s, much older than that, where you're no longer a benefit to society and everyone wants to stay young forever, so you're killed in this, grand ritual and supposedly, reincarnated. I'm not sure how it works within the movie, but and you expect me to stop and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you walked into my chair, you dumb fucking bitch."
It's like,
fuck you.
Listen up, lady. Why don't you stop fucking using your brain power and sucking strangers' dicks and then focus on fucking walking? How about that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, her mind was so distracted by cuckolding her husband. She walked. I should have said that to her.
Yeah, dude, it's like she's thinking in her mind, like, so she doesn't know where she's going. She's like, in her mind, she's like, okay, so I've got the guy at 5 o'clock. Then my husband wants me to get with this other guy at 7 o'clock, and then she just walks in the chair.
Yeah, exactly. Her sex schedule, was filled up that day. So yeah, I can't have any respect for a community like that. And you know what? And it's funny that you bring this up, because I noticed today, I see on Twitter reposts of Reddit threads that are, my wife and I entered an open relationship. She quote unquote cheated on me, or she left the person that we had the open relationship with, or we became swingers. And some of them are a little extreme to the point where they're made up. Okay, some of them are obvious bait and people are falling for it. But I think there is a line in there somewhere where no, people are probably doing that and their wife is ending up leaving them. Let's put it this way. What percentage of people who are doing cuckolding or in open relations do you think it's mutual between the two, where they both want to do it? I think it's about 5% of them or less. Yep. I think 95% of those relationships are being pushed by one side of it and the other person going along with it because they have so little self-respect for themselves. They're afraid to lose that person.
Yep. You know who it is that goes along with that? Guys that manage to snag one little girl and then like, oh, okay, that's the best I can do. I can never leave her because I can't do anyone better. And then she's like, okay, well, I want to fuck other guys. And then they're like, yeah, it's not enough of a bad value proposition for me to leave. That's how fucking pathetic they are.
I know, but that's
it's
dude. How
it's a
could you
guy
live your life with that little self-respect? Go ahead.
or it's a guy that's so obsessed with cuckolding that he forces a good girl to go along with it, which I've seen happen multiple times.
Well, that's what was happening in the story about the girl from high school. She wasn't like that. She wasn't a tramp. I would never talk about her in such a way. I'm just kidding. If I ever saw her again, I'd rock her in the fucking face because she deserves it after some things that she did. But that's a different story for a different time, aka not ending up with me. So, but we'll let that one go for now. Where was I gonna go with that? What were you saying?
She cuckolded you by not being with you?
No, you don't need to remind me of that. He said, because the guy has so little value for himself, etc.
Or he's so into it that he forces good girls to do it.
Yeah, you can only be that into it if you're a porn addict. Yeah. It must be. Like, okay, again, back to hedonism, I guess. We'll do word of the day. You need that rise so much. Like, what's the value in that? So then what, you think about that all day? Like, you think once he finishes on himself and his wife is getting blown out by someone, then he's still thinking for the rest of the week or even after that very moment, like, yes, that was very fulfilling. That was the fulfilling life experience.
That's what I don't understand. It's like, I don't get what they get out of that. It's like, okay, what about seeing your girl get fucked by someone else is enjoyable? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. You know?
We should have one on. We should get our co-host, back on this podcast, and he can tell us. So, how's that sound? I'm just kidding. Love you, You're a good kid. But yeah, I really don't understand the intrigue of it. I'm
willing to suspend disbelief even for people that are into bestiality, because I can see how, like, if your brain fucks up and you think like a fucking dog looks fucking hot or something and you want to fuck the dog, okay, I'm not there myself, but I can get behind that, I guess. But to see someone else fuck the thing that you love, really? I don't know.
Well, not only that, and it's like, if you're such a pathetic guy and you're trying to hold on to your relationship and you have little self-respect and she just goes for it and you have to agree to it, dude, why not just let it go? As a guy in this day, I mean, let it go as in let the relationship go. As a guy in this day and age, you have so many distractions. There's movies, there's games, it's football season, go Eagles. Like, you really just need to sit there and be a sullen, pathetic man just getting cuckolded to have this woman just be around you. She's probably not having sex with you at that point. So it's sad. It is really sad. So, and you know what? The other thing about it being from boomers, where does this subconscious, like, hypersexual archetype come from in a boomer? Because now you can blame it on you can blame these fetishes on porn now. Okay, the fetishization from porn is, you can see that coming. You say, okay, I'm into seeing a guy and girl have sex. Okay, I need a little bit more. What the heck? That guy looks really cute dressed as that girl. Oh my goodness, it's Hunter Schafer. And now all of a sudden I'm okay with this. It goes and goes and goes, and it's a snowball. Don't read into that too much. Anyways, it goes. But what is the connection between a boomer sneaking his dad's Playboy magazine to wanting to watch his wife get ran through by an Italian man at a hula hands in New Jersey? What's the connection? I don't understand. So yeah, that is strange to me. I don't understand that. So who knows? But it's only going to get worse from here, and everyone says that culture is... Or no, they'll all die out, and we'll be left with sexless Gen Zers. So maybe this is the end of cuckolding. I don't know.
I like the mental image of, like, a nervous, like, first-time cuckold. Like,
right.
He's like nervously making his way towards you, like, hey, do you, like, maybe, like, want to fuck my wife or something?
I really think I'm having fun this episode because I think my subconscious is informing a lot of it. But I had an old roommate from college who, I don't know if he was sex starved. He's just a strange man who runs in and out of my life at this point. And he found a couple on Craigslist who wanted someone to come over and ram their wife. And the guy, so I'm tying these two topics together. We talked about the military earlier. We're talking about cuckolding now. This guy was in the military, of course. And it's just like, How much of a sadist do you have to be, a glutton for punishment, that you want your wife to cuck you when you're home from going on, from tour, so usually it's when you go away, you have a subconscious fetish for your wife getting plowed by some guy who isn't deployed. But no, this guy he's for the love of the game so much. He wants to get his wife plowed in front of him while he's not deployed overseas. So he's just all about it. But yeah, my old roommate went and
deploy
did that.
someone else onto his wife.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You ever see that meme? It's like bros me. Yeah. Bros me in
the dude's like behind some like fucking command center, like server visual on the penis is entering the vagina.
He radios it in. Airstrike. Yeah. Well, no, did you ever see that meme? It's one of my favorites. It's like bros in the military be like, 10-4, bruh, your wife is getting cummed in or something like that. So good.